and I wrote it for my own private clients because I, again, work with mental health issues. I work with people that are just trying to get to the next place in life. And so we need to think about these 4 areas that I have in my book for an individual's lifestyle, and we need to bring this type of architecture into the workplace. What our blueprint is going to involve is going in and doing an assessment and analysis and listening to the people that are doing the work. Again, like our keynote talked about, you're never really going to know exactly what the employees need until you listen to them. I talked to some of the vendors today, and they were telling me about all these fixes that they had, and they became, FCC approved and everything. But one of the harnesses that they put on the helicopters, the people that were actually working with them said, wait a minute, I'm going to get shot if I use that harness. That's something they never thought about. But on these types of helicopters, that's a reality. So we have to listen. In our construction, that's going to involve not only implementing these different cognitive devices and implementations, but it's also going to mean training on how to use these new tools and also how to do things like breathing and meditation. A lot of people in the workforce don't know how to do either. And you guys now know one breathwork technique. And it was so easy that I bet everybody in here, even with the most messed up hippocampus, can remember how to do it. You breathe in and out for a minute and then you hold it. That's it. And it can change your physiology. We need to always be looking to see, is what we have in the workplace right now, is that congruent with what we have in our blueprint, our values and our priorities, or not? We need to readdress them. And then finally, we're going to need to maintain this. Again, with incentives over reprimands. We need to have continual education, have people come in and talk about how the brain works, talk about what happens with trauma and PTSD and adverse childhood experiences. This needs to be something continual because you're not going to get it from a training session. The only way that we're going to make a real shift of progress in workplace culture is through reconditioning. And that's a process that takes time and concerted effort. So we shape our buildings, and therefore after they shape us. Real quickly, this is some stats, and they're all available online. Johnson & Johnson in their workplace program, they actually found, for those people who like the ROI, they found that there was a 2.71 to 1 ROI. That means that they saved $2.71 for every $1 that they spent in their wellness program. That's pretty tremendous. And all these stats that I have here, I have all the citations for you online so you can check them out and read them and not just think that I'm throwing some fun numbers out there. But it does work. These well-placed programs, we have enough science and time to articulate how and when they work. And so finally, what I wanted to do, because on my poll, how many people did the poll? There were quite a few people that actually did the poll that I saw. There was 16 or so. And on the poll, I asked if people wanted to learn about energy, or if they wanted to learn about pain relief, or if they wanted to learn about authenticity through accountability. And that's all I put. I didn't put anything more as to what that meant, But the resounding amount of people really wanted to know, what is authenticity through accountability? So I'm going to leave you with that as like a cliffhanger, one of the old school cliffhangers, to get you really excited. What I wrote authenticity through accountability for was primarily our leaders, the people who are in charge of making these other decisions, so that way there's a really good trickle-down effect of what goes on in the workplace culture. And not all of it is going to be about these 4 things, but these are 4 things that I wanted to pull and share with you. But essentially, it's going to be teaching us how to be the best leaders from a scientific approach. And also we'll have some of that kind of woo-woo, smell and oils part in there too. But the first part is about mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are something that was discovered in 1992 by some Italian scientists that were playing with monkeys. And they discovered that certain neurons, when a monkey saw someone grabbing a banana, these neurons of movement in their brain fired as if they were grabbing the banana. And so what many scientists believe is that this area of our brain, these neurons, these mirror neurons, is actually where we get empathy from. And so as leaders, we have to understand that monkey see, monkey do, as simple as we can put it. And so we have to be the example of this. We have to be ourselves. If we're going to tell people about how great meditation is and it's going to be good for your sleeping, you need to learn how to do some meditation and some breathing techniques. And so mirror neurons is a fascinating thing of science because what it does is it shows us that when people see something happen, they actually learn much quicker than if they were given a protocol telling them how to do it. Tremendously faster. So we need to understand these concepts. And what about Feng Shui? That's probably not one that you thought you might talk about at the Governor's Health and Safety Conference, huh? Who's heard of Feng Shui? Come on, you guys have been around since the 70s and 80s, right? So Feng Shui is essentially the ancient term for ergonomics. That's what Feng Shui is. It's about creating a space that has the optimum movement of energy and flow through it so that that way people, human beings, can live harmonious and pleasant lives in whatever environment they're in. And I don't necessarily teach the form of Feng Shui that means that you need to have a flute over the door. There's some really, really kind of out there kind of implementations that they use. But we look at keeping the space clean primarily because your brain is always tracking stuff. And if you want to save energy and not be fatigued, you want to have a clean workplace environment and a clean home simply because your brain doesn't want to work that hard. Another big part about what we talk about in authenticity through accountability is I teach you about 5 ways that we waste energy, a few ways that we can kind of, not use it or waste it, but it's there for us and it's not, kind of more of a neutral state. And then finally, there's ways that we can do things to invest in more energy for our day. And then finally, we talked about these two that come together. Well, cortisol, as we talked about, is the stress hormone. Most people know what that is, but cortisol does 3 really nasty things that nobody wants. Number 1, it actually creates belly fat around the belly. And there's a really interesting biological reason for that I don't have time to talk about now. But people are actually running themselves fat. When they are stressed out and when they don't like what they're doing or they don't like where they're at work, cortisol levels raise. And not only does it build that belly fat, but it will also reduce the immune system. So when people are sick all the time, it's because they're sick and tired, it's because they're stressed. And then last, cortisol will also eat away at that hippocampus. But again, the good news is because of that BDNF, anybody remember what that was? The brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Because of that, we can do things like meditation and breathing and eating the right stuff so that we can rebuild the hippocampus. So, thank you so much for joining. I think I almost got that right on the time there.
It's perfect.
And if you can, make sure that you hit this QR code. This will let you know more about me. And if you want to stick around and take a look at the book, I got some copies here. It's a really, really neat tool for people to use both in their own personal lives and along with guides, therapists, and mentors. And it's one that I facilitate in the workplace and in schools. And then also you do that and I'll send you the little PDF for all the different plants and how they can be used. And also please, if you like the talk, this is my 2nd year and I would like to actually do that authenticity for accountability here next year in the leadership section. So please make sure that on your way out, if you haven't already, make sure you review and let me know if you liked it. And let me know if you didn't like it too. Awesome, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.